Ladies and gentlemen, there is a battlefield that is not in the valleys of the world, not in the boardrooms, not in the noise of the streets, but here hand over heart, and here hand to the mind. The greatest wars are fought in the chambers of your mind, and yet too many of us are living defeated not because life is too hard, but because we have not learned to master the time we are given. There is something so sacred, so profound, that when you truly understand it, it will change the very way you live. It is not a secret, yet most people walk past it every single day. It's not hidden from us, it's hidden in us. And that is the realization that time is not something you are owed, it is something you have been entrusted with. We live in a world where people move fast, talk fast, plan fast, but they rarely stop to grasp that time is not their possession. They act as though they are entitled to it. They plan for next year as if the calendar owes them. They say, "I'll do it tomorrow," as though tomorrow is guaranteed. But if your heart were to truly awaken to the fragile beauty of this moment, you would realize that every second is a miracle wrapped in grace. You are not breathing right now because you deserve to. You are breathing because you have been given permission to. And when that truth sinks deep into your spirit, you will no longer waste time on what is shallow, on what is temporary, on what is beneath your calling. The battles we fight in life are rarely about time itself, but about how we perceive it. If you believe that time is endless, you will live carelessly. If you believe time is scarce, you may live in fear. But when you understand that time is sacred, given moment by moment, as a trust from the Creator Himself, you will begin to live purposefully. You will stop measuring time in hours and start measuring it in impact. Do you realize that every single moment is pregnant with possibility? Do you understand that even now, as you sit here, listening, breathing, thinking you are sitting in the midst of a miracle, time is the invisible thread that God uses to weave your destiny? And you have been given the needle, the choice of how you stitch it into your life. But oh, how careless we can be. We squander precious hours on bitterness, on gossip, on fear, on scrolling through endless distractions that leave our souls empty. We trade golden moments for temporary amusements that do not feed our purpose. And then we say, "I don't have time." No, it's not that we don't have time. It's that we do not respect it. The mind that has not been trained to see time as a divine trust will always fall into the trap of wasting it. You cannot conquer the battles of life with a mind that treats time casually. You cannot build legacies, you cannot heal, you cannot grow when you live like you have forever, because you don't. Every morning you are given a gift. Not a guarantee, not a promise of ease, a gift, and what you do with that gift determines the victories you will walk in. Some people are waiting for the perfect opportunity, the perfect moment to start living intentionally. But I tell you, the perfect moment is now. The moment you realize you are alive, fully present, fully aware, is the moment you have everything you need to start conquering. The heart of the matter is this: you will never respect time until you understand its divine source. You see, time is not a human invention. It's not something man created to organize his day. Time is sacred. It is the breath of God manifested into motion, and you have been given a portion of that breath. You are breathing on borrowed air, you are walking on borrowed time, but oh, when a man or woman awakens to this truth, something shifts. They begin to live with urgency, but not with panic. They begin to live with intensity, but not with anxiety. There is a holy urgency that comes upon you when you recognize that you have been entrusted with a limited number of days to fulfill an unlimited purpose. You no longer have the luxury to dwell in offense. You no longer have the time to waste in self-pity. The person who understands that their minutes are sacred will not allow bitterness to steal them. They will rise early, speak truth boldly, love deeply, and serve with excellence. Why? Because they know time is precious, and they refuse to squander it on what doesn't matter. Your mind, my dear friend, must be trained to see every moment as holy ground. The battlefield of life is often won or lost in how you approach your minutes and your hours. For the untrained mind, time is a prison. It feels like a chain that binds you to stress, to obligations, to an endless list of tasks. But for the mind that is trained to see time as a gift, Every moment becomes a stepping stone to victory. You stop saying, "I don't have time," and start declaring, "I will make my time count." You are not called to manage time. You are called to honor it. And when you do, you will find that time expands for you. You will accomplish in 1 hour what others waste in a day. You will walk in peace while others drown in busyness, because you are not living on your own schedule. You are living on divine appointment. Train your mind to rise above the tyranny of the urgent. Focus on the eternal value of every task, every conversation, every decision. When you treat time as holy, you will find that the battles you thought were impossible become winnable. Because you are no longer fighting for time, you are flowing with it. There is a word that makes some people shrink back, a word that makes others sigh as if it's a burden. That word is discipline. People hear it and think of rules, of rigidity, of a life stripped of joy and spontaneity. They think discipline is a cold taskmaster, a chain that binds their freedom, a set of boundaries that cages their spirit. But how far from the truth they are. Discipline is not the chain, it is the key. Discipline is not your enemy, it is your liberator. You see, without discipline, your mind becomes a battlefield where chaos always wins. Without discipline, your potential remains a dream, a wish upon a star that never becomes reality. You cannot rise to the fullness of your calling with a mind that obeys every distraction, every impulse, every fleeting desire that pulls you off course. People often pray for strength to overcome their battles, yet they refuse to train their minds in discipline. They want victory without preparation, but there is no victory without discipline. You can be talented, you can be passionate, you can be anointed, but without discipline you will live a life of constant frustration, always reaching but never grasping, always desiring but never achieving. Discipline is not about saying no to life, it's about saying yes to what truly matters. When your mind is trained in discipline, you stop being a slave to your mood. You stop being a puppet to circumstances. You no longer live by how you feel, you live by what you've decided. That is freedom. That is where true power is born. Every dream you have will require a disciplined mind to birth it. A dream without discipline is like a ship without a rudder. It looks grand, but drifts aimlessly, at the mercy of the tides. Discipline gives your dreams direction. It points you true north and keeps you steady when the winds of life try to blow you off course. Many people are trapped in cycles of defeat because they've never learned to discipline their thoughts. A thought comes, "I'm not good enough. It's too hard. I'll do it later." And instead of taking that thought captive, they entertain it. They sit with it, they let it build a home in their mind, but a disciplined mind does not entertain every thought. A disciplined mind is a gatekeeper, letting in only what aligns with purpose and rejecting what seeks to destroy it. There are moments in life when you will not feel like doing what is necessary. There will be mornings when you don't feel like rising early, days when you don't feel like working, moments when you'd rather quit than press on. But it is in those very moments that discipline becomes your greatest weapon. It steps in when motivation steps out. Motivation is fleeting, but discipline is faithful. And yet people will say, "But I want to be free. I don't want to live a life that is rigid and controlled." Oh, but true freedom is not found in doing whatever you want, whenever you want. That kind of living is not freedom. It is bondage to your impulses. True freedom is when you can command your mind, when you can say no to what distracts and yes to what builds. That is the freedom that discipline brings. Consider a musician. They are free to create, to express, to move hearts with their art. But that freedom was not born out of chaos. It was forged in the quiet hours of disciplined practice. The same applies to life. Your greatest moments of breakthrough will not come from spur of the moment inspiration. They will come from the quiet victories of discipline, fought and won in private. Discipline is not glamorous. It is not celebrated. No one applauds the early mornings, the silent sacrifices, the times you choose focus over entertainment, but those are the moments when the battles of life are truly won. The battlefield is not always in public. It is often in the unseen spaces where you decide whether you will be ruled by your feelings or by your purpose. When you embrace discipline, you reclaim authority over your own life. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop making excuses. You rise above the laziness that whispers it's okay to settle, because you know that discipline is not punishing you, it's preparing you. It is forging in you the character required to carry the greatness you've been called to. Some believe that discipline kills creativity, that structure suffocates inspiration, but it's quite the opposite. Discipline gives creativity a channel to flow through. Without it, your ideas are scattered, your efforts are fragmented. But when you discipline your time, your thoughts, your actions, creativity flourishes within those boundaries with far greater power. It is time to stop seeing discipline as the villain. It is your ally, your greatest mentor, your silent coach that walks with you when no one is watching. It is what will keep you going when applause fades, when recognition is absent, when the emotional highs are gone. Discipline will hold you steady like an anchor in the storm. And here is the most beautiful truth: when you finally submit to discipline, you don't feel restricted. You feel empowered. You don't feel chained, you feel unleashed. Because now, your life is no longer at the mercy of circumstances or fleeting emotions. Now you are moving with purpose, with clarity, with strength. You see, discipline is not the enemy of your freedom. It is the doorway to it. The undisciplined mind will always be a prisoner to chaos. But the disciplined mind is free. We live in a world that is so loud. Voices are everywhere. The noise is constant. The television shouts its opinions. The phone never stops buzzing. Social media floods your mind with endless updates, endless comparisons, endless demands on your attention. The world has become so noisy that silence feels uncomfortable to most people. They run from it. They fear it. They fill every quiet moment with chatter, with distractions, with meaningless noise, afraid of what they might hear in the stillness. But let me tell you something: silence is not a sign of weakness. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is a weapon, a powerful tool that can train your mind to conquer battles you didn't even know you were fighting. You see, noise keeps you reactive. Noise keeps you distracted. The enemy of your purpose knows that if he can keep your mind filled with noise, you will never hear the whispers of wisdom. You will never notice the gentle nudges of clarity. You will be too busy, too distracted, too restless to recognize when truth is trying to speak. That is why the greatest victories are often born in silence. In silence the fog clears. In silence the battle within is revealed. The mind that learns to sit in silence becomes a fortress, unshaken by the noise outside. But we resist it. We think we are accomplishing more when we are busy, when we are talking, when we are constantly doing. Yet without silence we become scattered. We lose our center. We react instead of respond. We chase after urgent things while neglecting important things. When was the last time you allowed yourself to sit in complete silence, not out of boredom, but out of intentionality? When was the last time you sat with your own thoughts, unfiltered, undistracted, listening for the quiet voice that does not shout, but speaks with authority in the stillness? Silence is not emptiness. Silence is space for revelation, space for strategy, space for strength to be renewed. Silence is where your mind is sharpened. The battles of life are not always won by louder voices or busier schedules. They are won in the hearts of those who know how to retreat into silence and return with clarity. You must understand this: the mind that is never silent is a mind that is never at rest. And a mind that is never at rest will be exhausted, overwhelmed, and easily defeated. But the disciplined mind that knows how to enter silence will always rise refreshed, focused, and strong. Silence teaches you to be present. In the silence, you begin to notice things you've overlooked: the rhythm of your own heartbeat, the subtle tension in your spirit, the quiet yearnings of your soul. You begin to confront thoughts you've been avoiding. You begin to hear the still, small voice that guides you back to your purpose. The world tells you that to win, you must be louder. You must shout above the noise. But there is a greater power in the one who knows when to be silent. The person who is not afraid of silence is not afraid of themselves. They are not afraid of what will be revealed when the noise dies down. You see, silence is not a void to be filled. It is a sanctuary to be entered. It is not passive, it is active. In silence you listen with intention. In silence you confront the lies that clutter your mind. You begin to discern the difference between noise that distracts and truth that directs. It is in the silence where you will hear strategies for the battles you are facing. While others are scrambling, reacting, running from one thing to another, the person who retreats into silence will come back with answers. They will walk with a calm confidence, because they have trained their mind to find strength in stillness. Most people think that silence is the absence of action, but silence is where decisive action is born. It is where battles are won before they even begin. The mind that is still is a mind that can focus, and focus is a weapon more powerful than noise will ever be. You cannot conquer external chaos until you conquer internal noise. That is why silence is not optional, it is essential. The quiet moments you invest in today will become the victories you celebrate tomorrow. The world will keep telling you to move faster, to do more, to keep up. But you are not called to keep up with noise. You are called to rise above it. Silence is not retreating from the battle. It is stepping into the war room where the real strategies are formed. It is the place where clarity sharpens your mind like a sword, where peace becomes your shield, and where wisdom arms you for the next step. And do not misunderstand me, silence is not about isolation. It is not about running away from responsibility. It is about preparing your mind so that when you step into the noise of life, you are not shaken by it. You walk into chaos with calmness. You face storms with a quiet authority. The strongest minds are not those that are loudest. The strongest minds are those that can withdraw into silence, reset, and emerge with vision. Silence does not weaken you. Silence trains you, it humbles you. It centers you, and it empowers you to fight battles with precision, not panic. In the stillness you will find strength that noise will never give you. In the quiet you will receive strategies that busyness will never reveal. And in the silence you will come face with the greatest truth of all, that you were never meant to fight every battle with noise. You were meant to conquer them with clarity. Focus. That small, simple word holds the power to change the course of your entire life. But most people have been deceived into believing that focus is a gift, a luxury granted only to those whose lives are calm, whose circumstances are ideal, whose world is free from distractions. They wait for life to slow down, for people to stop demanding their attention, for circumstances to become perfect, and only then, they think, will they be able to focus. But focus is not something you wait for. Focus is not something you stumble upon when life becomes convenient. Focus is a choice you must make every single day, in every situation, in every battle. You must understand this truth. Life will never quiet down for you to find your focus. Life will always be loud. Life will always be busy. The distractions will never end. The demands will never stop. But focus is not found in the absence of noise. Focus is born in the discipline of the mind that refuses to be ruled by noise. The mind that conquers is the mind that chooses where it will give its attention, regardless of how chaotic the world around it becomes. There are people who believe they cannot focus because their lives are too busy, their problems are too many, their circumstances too overwhelming. But it is not the external that steals your focus, it is your permission that gives it away. You can be in the middle of a storm and still have focus. You can be surrounded by demands and still have clarity. Focus is not an environment you step into, it is a decision you make within yourself. The greatest victories in life are reserved for those who have trained their minds to focus when everything around them is screaming for attention. It is easy to focus when life is gentle, when the waters are calm. But the person who can focus when the waves are high, When the winds are loud, that is the person who will conquer battles others will run from. Focus is not a feeling, it is an act of will. You must command your mind to obey you. You must choose to say no to the unnecessary, no to the urgent but unimportant, no to every voice that tries to pull you away from what truly matters. The untrained mind will always wander. The untrained mind will chase every new thing, every passing thought, every shiny distraction. But the mind that is trained in focus will hold its ground like a soldier on the battlefield, unmoved by the noise. And yes, it is a battle. Every single day you are in a battle for your attention. Every app, every notification, every voice around you is vying for a piece of your mind. If you do not choose your focus, the world will choose it for you. If you do not guard your attention, you will be ruled by distraction. But hear me now, you have the power to choose. You are not a victim of noise. You are not helpless. You are not weak. The same way you can choose what words come out of your mouth. You can choose what thoughts will take root in your mind. Focus is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. When you begin to live with intentional focus, you will see a transformation. You will accomplish more in one focused hour than others accomplish in a distracted day. You will begin to notice opportunities that others miss because they are too scattered. You will walk into rooms with a presence that demands attention, not because you are loud, but because you are anchored. A focused mind carries a quiet authority, but focus requires sacrifice. You must be willing to let go of the good to reach for the great. You must be willing to disconnect from the noise so you can reconnect with your purpose. Focus will cost you your excuses. It will cost you your comfort zone. It will cost you the luxury of blaming circumstances. But what you gain in return is priceless. There is a power that is unlocked the moment you decide to live with focus. The moment you stop waiting for life to align perfectly and start choosing to align your mind intentionally, everything shifts. Clarity comes. Strength rises. You stop reacting and start building. You stop being pulled in 100 directions and start moving with precision. People will wonder why you are calm when things get chaotic. They will wonder how you are progressing when everyone else is distracted. It is not because you are better. It is because you have chosen to focus. You have trained your mind to fix its gaze on what matters most and to filter out the noise. And let me tell you something, once you taste the power of living with focus, you will never go back to a scattered life. You will never again be content with busyness that bears no fruit. You will no longer be satisfied with shallow living. Focus deepens you, it matures you, it elevates you, but the choice is yours. Focus will not find you. You must pursue it. You must wake up each day and decide, today I will not be ruled by circumstances. Today I will rule my mind. That is where victory begins, in the quiet, powerful choice to focus. Focus is not for the faint-hearted. It is for those who are ready to rise above distractions, to claim authority over their own minds, and to live a life of deliberate purpose. And once you make that choice, the battles that once overwhelmed you will shrink before you, because now you are not scattered. You are sharp. You are steady. You are focused. There comes a moment in every life when you must stop and look around you, not at the crowds, not at the noise of strangers, but at the few voices you allow closest to your heart, the people in your inner circle. The ones who have access to your mind, your dreams, your vulnerabilities, and you must ask yourself, are they building me or are they breaking me? Are they watering my vision or are they poisoning my purpose? The battles of life are not won in isolation, but they are often lost by wrong associations. You see, no one rises alone, no one falls alone. The people you keep in your inner circle, those you give your ear to, those you allow to speak into your heart, will either sharpen you or dull you. They will either lift you or slowly, quietly, drain you. And yet, so many live carelessly when it comes to relationships. They think they can conquer life's greatest battles while walking with people who don't believe in their vision, who constantly speak doubt, who thrive on gossip, who drag their energy into shallow conversations, who fear growth and resist change. They believe love means keeping everyone close, but I tell you the truth, love does not mean access. You can love people without giving them permission to speak into your destiny. If you are serious about conquering life's battles, if you are serious about maximizing the gift of time, you must guard your inner circle ruthlessly. That word may sound harsh, but it is necessary. Because your destiny is too important, your purpose is too sacred, to allow it to be sabotaged by wrong company. Understand this, your inner circle is not defined by how long you have known someone. It is not about who makes you feel comfortable. Your inner circle must be filled with people who challenge you, who confront you with truth when you're tempted to settle, who see your blind spots, who remind you of your calling when distractions come knocking. Many are trapped in mediocrity because they have surrounded themselves with people who are content with less. And when you walk with people who are content with less, they will resent your hunger for more. They will see your discipline as arrogance. They will see your focus as coldness. But you must be willing to be misunderstood if you are going to rise. The truth is, you become like those you spend the most time with. Their attitudes, their mindsets, their habits, little by little they seep into your spirit. You may not notice it at first. You may think you are immune, but eventually their fears become your hesitations. Their compromises become your standards. Their small-mindedness becomes your ceiling. That is why you must guard your circle, not with paranoia, not with pride, but with purpose. You must look around and ask, who speaks life into me? Who challenges my excuses? Who refuses to let me shrink? These are the ones who deserve a seat at your table. But it is not enough to remove the wrong people. You must also intentionally invite the right people. People who carry vision, people who live with integrity, people who are not impressed by your talents but are committed to your growth. People who have already conquered battles you are preparing to face. Your circle should be filled with those who remind you of who you are when you forget. Those who lift your arms when you are weary. Those who will not clap when you settle for less, but will push you to rise higher. That kind of company is rare, and that is why you must be intentional. Guarding your circle may cost you relationships. It may require uncomfortable conversations. It may even leave you walking alone for a season. But I promise you this, it is better to walk alone in the right direction than to walk with a crowd going nowhere. You see, influence is contagious. The people closest to you have influence over you, whether you realize it or not. Every conversation shapes you. Every interaction deposits something into your spirit, either strength or weakness, clarity or confusion, faith or fear. You cannot afford to allow just anyone to shape you. You must be vigilant. You must be deliberate. There will be those who accuse you of being distant, of thinking you are better, of changing, and they will be right. You are changing. You are evolving. You are aligning yourself with your purpose. And not everyone is meant to come with you on that journey. You are not being cruel. You are being responsible. You are stewarding your destiny. But listen carefully. Guarding your circle is not about building walls of pride. It is about building gates of discernment. You are not shutting people out of your love, but you are being a wise steward of access. You are not elevating yourself above others. You are elevating your standards to match your purpose. The voices in your inner circle will either fuel your focus or fracture it. They will either protect your time or waste it. They will either celebrate your growth or resent it. You must choose. No one else can choose for you. The greatest battles you will ever fight are often not with enemies, but with the friends you are too afraid to lose. But victory demands courage. Courage to say, I am running toward purpose, and if you cannot run with me, I still must run. Guarding your inner circle ruthlessly is not about who is good or bad. It is about alignment. It is about discernment. It is about walking with those who make you sharper, braver, stronger, because at the end of the day, the voices you allow close will determine the future you walk into. And if you are serious about winning every battle life throws your way, you must be equally serious about guarding your circle. Ruthlessly, deliberately, purposefully. There is a subtle trap that has ensnared countless lives, a deception that appears harmless on the surface, but robs people of their destiny. It is the false promise of pleasure, the constant lure of comfort, ease, and momentary satisfaction. The world shouts it every day. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to relax. You deserve to indulge. And while there is nothing wrong with rest, while joy is a beautiful gift, when pleasure becomes your priority, purpose is always the price. Purpose and pleasure will often stand on opposite sides of your decisions. One will build you, the other will numb you. One requires sacrifice. The other demands nothing but your attention, and that's how it steals your time, your focus, your calling. There are battles you will never conquer as long as you keep prioritizing temporary pleasure over long-term purpose. You cannot live a life of greatness while bowing to every craving for comfort. The undisciplined mind, the one that has not been trained to say no to fleeting desires, will always trade legacy for leisure. We are living in a generation that is addicted to the instant entertainment, instant gratification, instant rewards, but purpose is never instant. Purpose is forged in perseverance. It is birthed in the quiet, often unseen moments when you choose to delay gratification, when you choose to endure discomfort because you see a vision greater than the now. There is nothing wrong with enjoying life. Joy is essential, but the difference lies in what you seek first. If pleasure becomes your compass, you will always drift, because pleasure demands nothing from you. It offers escape, not progress. It seduces you into cycles of delay. I'll start tomorrow. I'll focus when I feel ready. I deserve a break. And before you realize it, days become weeks, and weeks become years, all while your potential lies dormant, buried beneath layers of wasted time. But purpose calls you higher. Purpose pulls you out of the comfort zone and into the refining fire. Purpose asks for your focus when distractions seem more appealing. Purpose demands your best when your feelings want to give the least. And yes, purpose will often lead you through seasons of discomfort, but it will also lead you into victories that pleasure can never give. You cannot build a life of significance on the foundation of convenience. The victories you admire in others, the excellence, the discipline, the success are never built in the easy places. They are built in the moments when the mind is trained to choose purpose over pleasure. And yet so many will say, but I don't feel motivated. I don't feel inspired. Let me tell you a truth that can liberate you. Your feelings are not the leader of your life. They are passengers. They come and go. But purpose must always remain in the driver's seat. If you live by what feels good in the moment, you will miss out on what is good for your destiny. There is a battle raging in every mind, the battle between the urgent and the important, between the easy path and the right path. The untrained mind will always default to ease, but the mind trained in purpose learns to embrace temporary discomfort for the sake of eternal impact. You must decide what kind of life you want to live. Do you want a life that looks good on the outside but is empty within, numbed by shallow pleasures? Or do you want a life that is rich with meaning, a life that demands more of you but gives you victories that last? Every time you choose to prioritize purpose, you are sowing into your future. You are building endurance, character, clarity. You are preparing yourself for battles you cannot even see yet. But if you keep choosing the quick pleasure, you are weakening your resolve, making it harder to stand when challenges come. There is a joy that comes from living on purpose that no temporary pleasure can imitate. It is the joy of waking up knowing you are aligned with your calling. It is the peace of knowing you are not living for the approval of the crowd, but for the fulfillment of your mission. Pleasure is easy. Purpose requires intention. Pleasure fades. Purpose remains. Pleasure distracts. Purpose directs. And here is what many fail to understand: when you prioritize purpose first, true and lasting pleasure follows. Not the empty, fleeting kind, but the deep satisfaction that comes from knowing you are living in alignment with your destiny. The person who chooses purpose first will experience a joy that is not dependent on circumstances, a joy that is rooted in fulfillment, not entertainment. But the choice is not made once. It is made daily, hourly, in the small, quiet decisions when no one is watching. Will you stay up late scrolling for pleasure, or will you rest to rise early and build your purpose? Will you engage in mindless chatter, Or will you invest time in learning and growing? These are the choices that shape your life. They may seem small in the moment, but they echo into eternity. Purpose requires a standard, a line you refuse to cross, a discipline that becomes your compass. It is not for the faint-hearted, but those who choose it, those who choose purpose over pleasure, they are the ones who will stand victorious when the battle is over. They are the ones who will leave a legacy that speaks long after they are gone. There will always be a temptation to choose the easy road, but easy roads never lead to extraordinary destinations. Purpose is a narrow path. It is not crowded, but it is worth it. Every sacrifice, every act of discipline, every moment you choose purpose over pleasure is a seed that will bear fruit in your future. The question is simple. Will you trade what you want most for what you want now? Or will you rise above the fleeting to embrace the eternal? There comes a moment in every life when you are confronted with the brevity of time. A moment when you realize that life is not a rehearsal. You are not promised the next chapter. You are not guaranteed another breath. And in that moment, the question that echoes through your soul is not, what did I achieve? Or how much did I accumulate? But did I live for what truly matters? Did I live for eternity? We live as though we have forever. We plan, we postpone, we fill our days with urgent things, but not always important things. We are so easily caught in the web of temporary pursuits, the next promotion, the next purchase, the next thrill. But I tell you this, if you do not live each day with eternity in mind, you will waste your time on things that fade. The battles of life are not won by those who are merely busy. They are won by those who have clarity of purpose, who understand that life on this earth is a fleeting moment, a vapor, a breath, but what you build in this breath can echo into eternity. You must train your mind to live with that awareness. Every choice you make, every word you speak, every thought you allow to take root, is either building something eternal or feeding something temporary. You are not just living for today, you are preparing for forever. And when you begin to see life through the lens of eternity, everything changes. Suddenly, offenses seem small. The arguments that once consumed you lose their power. The applause of people becomes less important. Because you understand that the opinions of man will fade, but the impact of a life lived on purpose will remain. Living with eternity in mind is not about being somber or detached from life. It is the exact opposite. It is about living fully, intentionally, with a fire that does not burn out when seasons change. It is about walking into each day knowing that your time, your talents, your very breath has been given to you as a sacred trust, and you are responsible for how you steward it. There are people who live for the weekend, who live for the next escape, the next vacation, the next distraction. But there are also those rare souls who live every single day as if it holds eternal weight. They understand that even the smallest acts of kindness, the quiet moments of discipline, the unseen sacrifices are never wasted in eternity. You must decide which life you will live. Will you live for what feels good now? Or will you live for what will still matter 1,000 years from now? Eternal perspective is what gives you endurance in the battle. When you are tired, when you feel like giving up, when the cost of pursuing your purpose feels too high, it is the vision of eternity that will anchor you. You will remember that you are not living for applause, you are not living for comfort, you are living for impact. It is so easy to be seduced by the urgent, the notifications, the deadlines, the constant noise demanding your attention. But urgency does not equal importance. Eternity teaches you to filter out the noise, to discern what truly deserves your energy, your focus, your life. There is a sobering truth that must be said one day. Your life on this earth will be over. The accolades, the titles, the possessions, they will stay behind. But what will follow you into eternity is how you lived, how you loved, how you served, how you built when no one was watching. When you live with eternity in mind, you begin to ask different questions. Not what do I want today, but what will matter in the end, not how can I please people, but am I fulfilling my calling? These are the questions that shape a life of purpose. You must train your mind to rise above the shallow distractions of the moment. Because time is not slowing down, you do not have forever to get serious. You do not have endless years to wander in indecision. Every day you live without purpose is a day you will never get back, but do not be discouraged. You do not need more time, You need more clarity, and that clarity comes when you align your daily actions with an eternal perspective. You begin to realize that your work, your relationships, your gifts, all of it can become a platform for something greater than yourself. When you live with eternity in mind, you stop being tossed by emotions. You stop being swayed by trends. You become anchored, stable, resilient, because your eyes are fixed not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, not on what is temporary, but on what is eternal. It is not enough to have big dreams. You must align those dreams with an eternal mission. The world does not need more people chasing fleeting success. The world needs people who are building legacies that will outlive them, people who will stand before God and hear the words, "Well done, good and faithful servant." You must decide what you are building with your life. Is it a tower that will crumble with time, or is it a foundation that will stand in eternity? This perspective does not take away your joy, it amplifies it, because when you live for eternity, you live with urgency not of panic, but of purpose. You begin to celebrate the simple moments. You value relationships more deeply. You give generously. You serve passionately. You live every single day knowing it is part of a bigger story. You are not a wanderer drifting through time. You are a builder of eternity, but only if you choose to live like it. There is a battle that rages within every human soul, a battle between the will of man and the divine will that calls us higher. The mind can be trained, sharpened, disciplined, but until the will is surrendered, the mind will always be in conflict. You see, the will is a powerful thing. It is stubborn, it is proud, it desires control. And as long as you cling to your will, you will live in a constant struggle between what you desire and what you are destined for. But here is the paradox. True empowerment of the mind begins when the will is surrendered. Not surrendered in weakness, but in trust. Not surrendered in defeat, but in alignment. You can train your habits. You can discipline your schedule. You can sharpen your focus. But if your will is not surrendered to a higher purpose, you will always hit a ceiling. Your mind will strive, but it will never soar, because human willpower, though strong, is limited. But a surrendered will taps into an unlimited source of strength. We live in a world that glorifies self-will. Do what you want, follow your heart, chase your dreams. And while dreams are powerful and desires can be good, the problem comes when the human will is elevated above divine alignment, because not everything that looks good is right. Not every open door is an invitation. Not every desire is worthy of being fulfilled. Surrender is not a word people like to hear. It sounds like losing. It sounds like weakness, but oh, how wrong that is. Surrender is the place where true power begins. It is the place where your limited perspective bows to infinite wisdom. It is the moment when your frantic striving gives way to divine strategy. A mind that is not anchored in surrender will always be restless. It will always be pulled in 1,000 directions, trying to achieve, trying to control, trying to manufacture results. But the mind that is anchored in surrender is calm, focused, unstoppable. Not because it has figured everything out, but because it no longer needs to. Surrender is not passivity. It is not giving up on your responsibility. It is not sitting back and waiting for life to happen. Surrender is active. It is the deliberate choice to align your will with a greater plan. It is the decision to trust the process, even when you cannot see the outcome. When you surrender your will, you empower your mind with clarity. You no longer waste mental energy on fighting battles you were never meant to fight. You no longer live under the heavy burden of controlling every detail. You become free to focus on what you are called to do and leave the rest in hands far greater than your own. There is a peace that comes with surrender, a peace that no success, no achievement, no possession can give you. It is the peace of knowing that you are not the master of the universe. You are a steward. You are a vessel, and when the vessel aligns with the hand of the potter, there is no limit to what can be created. The will that is not surrendered will always lead you into exhaustion. You will work harder but feel emptier. You will achieve more but still feel like it is never enough. But the surrendered will is a rested will. It is a will that says, "I will give my best, but I will not be ruled by the outcome." It is a will that has found its true strength in letting go of control, and here is a mystery. The moment you surrender your will is the moment your mind becomes truly powerful. Because now your thoughts are not scattered, your energy is not divided, your focus is not consumed by fear of what you cannot control. You are free to think clearly, you are free to act boldly, you are free to pursue purpose without panic. The strongest minds are not those that control everything. The strongest minds are those that are anchored in surrender. They are not easily shaken because they are not clinging to outcomes. They are not easily distracted because they are aligned with a higher mission. They are not easily discouraged because their identity is not tied to immediate success. When you surrender your will, you become dangerous to every battle that once defeated you. Fear loses its grip. Anxiety loses its voice. Distraction loses its power because you are no longer ruled by what happens around you. You are ruled by what has been planted within you, a peace, a strength, a vision that no external chaos can take away. But surrender is a daily choice. It is not a one-time event. Every morning you must decide, will I strive today or will I align? Will I fight to control or will I fight to trust? The surrendered mind is not passive. It is fiercely active, but it moves from a place of peace, not panic. You must understand this. Surrender is not a sign of weakness. It is the ultimate act of strength. It takes courage to let go. It takes faith to release control. But once you do, you will discover that surrender does not diminish your power, it amplifies it. It does not silence your mind, it sharpens it. You were not created to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You were created to align with a greater purpose and move with precision, clarity, and peace. That begins with surrender. And when your will is surrendered, your mind becomes a battlefield where victories are won before the fight even begins. Because a surrendered mind is an empowered mind. A surrendered will is an unstoppable force. That is the paradox. The moment you release control is the moment you gain true authority. The moment you lay down, your will is the moment your mind is free to conquer every battle ahead. And now, as you stand on the threshold of your own life, the choice before you is no longer a mystery. You know what it takes to conquer every battle. It will not be handed to you in comfort. It will not come wrapped in ease. Victory belongs to the mind that is trained, the heart that is anchored, the will that is surrendered. Discipline is not your enemy, it is your liberation. Silence is not your weakness, it is your weapon. Focus is not an accident, it is your choice. The people in your inner circle are not neutral. They are either sharpening you or subtracting from you. Pleasure may offer temporary highs, but purpose is what builds eternal legacy. Every moment of your life carries the weight of eternity, whether you see it or not. And ultimate empowerment does not come when you control everything. It comes when you surrender to the one who does. You are not here to survive life. You are here to conquer it. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are not a prisoner of distractions. You are a builder of destiny, but no one can make the decision for you. You must rise. You must choose. You must train your mind to be unwavering, unshaken, unstoppable. So I challenge you, step out of the crowd. Refuse to live a life of shallow pleasures and fleeting applause. Refuse to waste another day waiting for perfect conditions. This is your moment to decide. Will you train your mind to rise above the noise? Will you choose discipline over excuses, purpose over pleasure, surrender over control? Because the battles of life will not wait for you to be ready. But if you are willing to train your mind, you won't need the world's permission to win. You will be ready, you will be focused, you will be free. Now, go and live a life so anchored in purpose, so sharpened by discipline, so empowered by surrender, that no battle will ever be too great for you to conquer.